You can always hook me with a mock draft, Santiago.
Yes, I know how to do it then. I know the secret. So let me just share the simulator, and we can start. Okay. So in this case, we only have the Bears. I don't think you want to trade up or anything like that before the draft.
No, we'll skip trades for this one. We'll just kind of sit, which is difficult because, again, the Bears have a big gap between 72 and 148. So there are a lot of good players, especially in this draft, that are going to go off the board in those picks. And then they have a couple of picks late. But again, they have another huge gap from 148 to 233, almost 100 picks go off the board. So there's two huge gaps. 148 kind of sits out there as an island in this, from if you're going literally from 72 to 233 and you have one pick in between, you better be pretty careful with it. But they do have picks near the top. They are, 10, 39, 41, and 72. That's, 4 picks in the top 72 is very good. So
Ben Johnson has shown an intent to work in the offensive line, right? He was very aggressive in free agency to acquire a couple of players with starting potential. Do you think he's done, or he might look to us in the draft?
Well, in this particular draft, if it shakes out this way, I would be shocked if they didn't take Membu in that scenario, not because they're unhappy with their tackle situation. I still think Braxton would start this year because there's no assurance that Membu could start at left. I think, again, they're going to figure that out in one of their top 30 visits and know whether or not he can play left. But I just did my deep dive on him last weekend, and he's such a good athlete. Like, he is one of the very best athletes to tackle in this draft.
Worth a top 5 pick?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I think he could go to the Pats for sure. I think if he's there, he probably will. If Hunter and Carter are gone, I think the Pats will take Membu over Campbell even.
So we'll take him right here?
I would take him right here because Braxton Jones is up for a contract next year, and we saw the rates for free agent tackles. Unless you want to pay Braxton Jones $24 million a year, which is about what he's going to get, and right now the Bears have nothing behind either, so it also insulates them from injury. If Darnell Wright misses time again, I would be completely happy with Membu taking snaps at right tackle as a rookie. So.
And after what we saw last year with Caleb Williams, I think there is no such thing as too much investment in the offensive line. You have to make it work. So I love this pick. After this, I see Derek Harmon here, and I don't think he will be here.
I don't think he's going to be there either, but he is, and I'm taking him 100%. Like, I saw him down at Eugene last week at the Ducks Pro Day, and I loved his tape, and hearing his teammates talk about him and the way they talk about him. I love Derek Harmon. He is a great fit with Dennis Allen's defense. He is such a Dennis Allen type interior offensive lineman that can be flexed out and play a 5 because he's athletic enough. He's incredibly strong, has a ton of core strength, can really torque guys out of the way, control the line of scrimmage. Love Derek Harmon. Think it's a great value as well. So I'm picking Derek Harmon there for sure.
If you add sacks, pressures, and quarterback hits, he's number 1 in his position in this class. Are you worried at all about his tackling? Because he does miss a lot of tackles.
Not particularly, because when you look at the type of tackles that he was missing, he was stirring the drink for the most part, and he usually had somebody engaged with him. There were very few like, I'm free and I get a one-on-one shot and I missed it. It's more like I had one arm free and a guard's trying to yank me the other way. And, he ran through what is essentially an arm tackle. Would I like to see him make those? Sure. But he also had the benefit of playing on a really good defensive line where, Jamari Caldwell or Birch or anybody else could clean that up. He's a force. He's a physical force. I love the way he plays. I think it's great value and it's a need too. So I think it all just lines up really, really well.
After this, what position do you think they would try to invest in? They have Dennis Allen as a defensive coordinator. Do you think they would try to do that, or maybe add more weapons for Caleb Williams?
I want to see 2 positions at 41. I want to see running back and I want to see edge.
I can't believe I haven't asked you about running back yet.
That's okay. I know. I love 50 minutes and running backs. All right, so we've got we could take Quinshon Judkins here. Scadaboo's still there. The edges are really tempting as well. So if you're happy with grabbing somebody from this very deep running back class at 72, which again, you might get a wild Caleb Johnson sighting. I don't know how people feel about Dylan Sampson, but I'm looking at boy, I really like Braden Swinson. And if you came out of the first 3 picks with Membu, Harmon, and Swinson, and I know a lot of folks like JTT as well from Ohio State. I think he's another very good player. I think he's a great fit for what Dennis Allen does as well. But so is Braden Swinson, and they could use the edge help as well. So I'm more inclined to take edge here because the running back class is extremely deep, and I think I can get one farther on down that's still pretty darn good. So I'm going to go with Braden Swinson from LSU.
Okay.
And that is a dream first 3 for the Bears. That would be such a haul. I don't think they're probably going to get 2 of those players, but 3 would be amazing.
I agree, but the mock drafts in this class specifically are very, very, very wild. Sometimes a player goes in the 20th pick, and sometimes it's available at the 60th. You don't know what it's going to happen. Did you consider at all Josiah Stewart, or you saw Braden Swinson?
I really like Stewart. He's very, very good and wildly underrated. But I think in terms of fit within Dennis Allen's defense, which is new for the Bears this year, Swinson is a better fit physically, and Dennis Allen tends to hold pretty strongly to his preferences about physical size. And Josiah Stewart's a little on the short side for him, quite frankly. Great player, though. Really like him.
So at pick 72, the running backs.
We're all set here. You could pick any one of the first 3. I love Harvey. He's a slasher. DJ Giddens is the most elusive back in this draft. And Devin Neal is probably my favorite all-arounder. Now, he got a lot of good blocking at Kansas and certainly took advantage of that. I'm not going to hold it against him. But honestly, I would be thrilled with any of them. I think I'm going to take Harvey for the explosive element. Because maybe Roschon Johnson becomes something this year. I don't think Swift is going to be with the team long term, although Ben Johnson does have familiarity with them. I would, of those 3, I think I take Harvey. He's very, very impressive, and he can hit the home run for you as well, but he's also built like he's just cut out of iron. There are a few guys every year at the combine. Everybody's running around in, shorts and workout shirts, and couple of guys you walk next to and you're like, damn, that guy has been working really hard. And Harvey was a guy I was like, man, I don't think he could be more fit than he is.
Who does he remind you of?
Oh boy. That's a great question. I'm not a huge comp guy, but let me dig around in my brain. A little bit of Kenneth Walker, but I think Kenneth Walker was better. But in terms of his ability to really take a small crease and just blow it wide open with speed or power, there's a smidge of that in there. I think K-Walk was a better player. I had a better grade on him, but when I watch him run, I think, there's some of that there. I think he'd be a tremendous back for the next 2 or 3 years for the Bears.
So we will draft him here. Ben Johnson already replaced at one point DeAndre Swift, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's traded even before the next season. With pick 148, what position do you think the Bears would be interested in?
I want to take a look at safety. I don't know if the Bears do, but I want to see who's left. My guys are for the most part off the board. I like Dean Clark and Elijah Clark both, and Keaton Crawford too, but those guys are farther on down the board. I was hoping that Billy Bowman might still be here. Sometimes I find him down.
I describe him as a kamikaze.
Oh, he's great. I really like the way he plays the game, and he's more than just a hitter too. And with Brisker's injury, which is been concussion based, you never really know. So all right, so we've already got. Let's check tight end real quick.
Okay. Do you think Warren would be in consideration in the 10th pick if available?
I do, just because of the way the board might fall. Let's put it that way. So we got Jurasek, Brenningstool. Probably going to get my tight end later. I don't love anybody at the top of that list. Check interior offensive line for me as well. Ooh, I would have a hard time passing on Seth here.
For some reason, he's always available in the 250s. I don't understand. If you're good enough for Alabama,
oh
and
yeah,
Ohio State,
I don't
good
know
enough
that
for
he's.
me.
Yeah, I don't think that's for real. But I would look at Seth as a backup because I'm not sure that the backups for the Bears at center are going to work out. So yeah, I would take Seth there for sure. As long as they're comfortable with his injury.
Like, yeah, I was just gonna say the Buckeyes really missed him when he went down with an injury.
Yeah, then they missed 2/5 of that. Well, 2/3 of the left side, 2/5 of the overall line. It really changed things. Ooh, Matavao is. I love Matavao. He's a great dude. Yeah, I'll pick him because he's a very good blocker. He's got a great frame. And the one thing I was worried about with him is can he catch? And I watched him very closely at the combine, and there's more there than UCLA pulled out of him as a receiver. So he's one of my sneaky guys. I love him down at the end of the draft.
He's massive. Does he remind you of the I forgot Greg Dulcich, who also came out of UCLA? or is that just helmet scouting?
No, it's a little bit of helmet scouting. Dulcich was better down the seam.
No, I haven't gotten to Matavao, so that's why I'm asking. I haven't seen him play.
Yeah, he doesn't run as well as Greg did, but he's got a huge frame, and he's more of a receiver than I thought he was.
He's so good, he took your breath away.
Yeah, a little bit. No, I just swallowed a frog, apparently.
So I think the Bears only have one pick left, right?
Yep.
After this. What position are you interested in?
I'm either going to take Ty Robinson on value out of Nebraska as a defensive tackle, or, well, we already got our center, so I'm probably going to take Ty. Is there, I know there's nobody left at edge. Check safety, see if anybody slipped. Because I think safety depth is something they're going to need.
What do you think of Dan Jackson?
I really like him, actually. I would pick him here. I think he's underrated for sure.
Another player who reminds me a bit of Castro, but better.
Yeah, better, faster for sure, and I think more impactful. I think Castro gets caught in the middle quite a bit. Yeah. And Dan is one of those guys that I was watching Malachi Starks because I really like Malachi Starks, and I was like, man, the other safety makes a bunch of plays. Nice. And you're like, that's Dan Jackson. You're like, all right. So I would be thrilled. I mean, honestly, that's a great draft. I do a lot of mock drafts. I don't really care what the grading system says. That is setting your team up on both sides of the line. And you get a very nice potential starting running back in RJ Harvey. You get, again, another backup in Seth McLaughlin, who, if he works out, could very well work his way into being a starter. Matavao, I don't think plays a ton this year, but, will in blocking alignments. And then Dan Jackson is just there if you need him, right? If Byard or Brisker goes down, he's insurance, and very good insurance at that point in the draft. So I love that draft. That's a tremendously valuable draft.
And Dan Jackson is a former walk-on. Who became a starter at Georgia. So even if only for that, for the leadership, for those qualities, I think he's a great fit for this team. EJ, thank you very much for agreeing to come here, for giving me an hour of your time. Where can people find you?
So Bootleg Football is where you will find most of my draft content. That's on YouTube. Just type in Bootleg Football. And then if you're looking for Bears-specific content, I also have a Bears podcast called Bear Era, Bearera. And we're going to have some great guests. We're actually recording one right after this. So you'll see that in a couple of days. But we'll also have live streams every couple of weeks to answer your draft questions. And then we'll have some draft focused content as well. I'll be doing the bootleg live stream. So the other guys will be picking up the slack over at Bear Era and doing draft focused content. That's really, again, just Chicago centric, but those are the two main places. Of course, you can follow me on all the social stuff. It's at Football EJ on either site. And I really appreciate it. Thanks for reaching out. Thanks for the opportunity. This has been a ton of fun.
I agree. Thank you very much. I completely love your content because you go behind the X's and O's and you try to explain that part of it. And I think it's a really valuable resource. And if you're wrong, you're wrong. If you're right, you're right. But the analysis behind it is very sound. So that's what I appreciate truly. And thank you for coming here, EJ.
And
thanks. Ahora voy a cambiar al español para hacer la despedida como se debe. Muchas gracias a las personas que han llegado hasta este momento. Yo soy Santiago Escamilla con EJ Snyder para hablar de los mejores fits y del mock draft para los Bears. Muchas gracias. Nos vemos en la siguiente para más cobertura digna del Salón de la Fama. Gracias y hasta luego.